Hey, I'm Joe. Welcome back to Two Herons Farm. This is my wife, Liz.
Hi.
So today's chore, which is pretty much a universal chore all the time, whenever we have time, is to do wood. So we got this stack of pecan here that we need to separate into this bin so that we can keep it separate. That's smoking wood and a lot more valuable than regular firewood. But other than that, we have a lot of firewood that we need to split up. Got a big old pile. So we got a couple hours, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, so that's it. We're going to be getting going with this. Hopefully we'll be able to get a lot done in 2 hours. Get this stuff just piled up so it can start drying out and we'll be able to use it next year. We're not going to be able to use this stuff this year. It's still a little too wet. Even though those logs have been sitting on the ground for a year and a half, when we go to split them, they look like a sponge. All right, so most of this stuff is from trees that we had in the front yard that unfortunately needed to be taken down. There was this one beautiful old oak tree. I counted the rings. It was about 145 years, maybe a little bit older than that. But unfortunately it had grown completely over the top of the house. And here in North Carolina, oak trees are prone for tipping over anytime the wind blows and it rains at the same time. So it had to come down. I knew it had been up for 145 years, longer than the house. But you know, it had to come down. So turned it into firewood. Wish we could have done something more than that, but that's all we're gonna get out of it. So these are the chainsaws that we're going to be using. It's always good to have more than one. That way if you get one stuck, you can get it out, or else you're in the world of hurt. I don't think we're going to be using the big one today. I'm not going to be doing anything quite big enough to be able to need to use that. We're mostly going to be using this one here in the middle. That's the MS362C. So it's a really good professional series saw. It's great for bucking up lots of wood. And I got my old farm boss here if we need that. But pretty much just going to be using that one in the middle. I have the most chains for that one. And I'm going to be making my life a little easier by setting things up on the skid steer, and I don't have to bend over so much. That should make life a lot easier.
Alright, so while he's over there pulling some wood off the pile, I'm going to start sorting out this pecan and putting it in this bin here. Hi, Whiskey. Probably saw I had a little visit from Whiskey. So let's see. I just want to show you guys what Joe is doing because it's crazy what the skid steer can lift. Just makes it look like nothing.
So this is a stack of wood that we're working with. You can see most of this is limb wood here. And those are some big limbs. It's pretty easy to cut up. It's dry, but again, once you go split it, it's just like a sponge. But some of these things, and this is actually just a limb as well. Some of these things are really really big across. That's probably about 22 inches, something like that. So no problem getting the saw through that, but man, putting these things on the splitter, that's a whole different story. And this is just some of the smaller stuff. The trunk was 4 feet, over 4 feet across. Tried to save it, had a professional, or at least he called himself a professional, come in and cut it down, and that did not work out. So unfortunately, even the trunk's going to turn into firewood. But I think we're going to have to load those on the splitter with the skid steer. I don't think we'll be able to pick those up. Even these ones are going to be a challenge, probably a 2-person job. So I don't know if you saw when I get out of the skid steer, I actually usually leave it running. That way I don't have to start it up and shut it off too many times and wear it out that way. But I always go over the top. I knew a kid when I was younger, when I was a teenager. He worked on a farm where I grew up, and yeah, he didn't go out that way. He actually went under, and the boom dropped and crushed him and killed him. So that's always stuck with me. You know, farm accidents they were just really easy to have happen, and you know, it might look like just trying to be overcautious, but it's you only get to die once, so I'm not looking to do that today.
I don't know if you can see, there's a ginormous spider back there. It's like my biggest fear when I'm doing firewood is a big spider, so biggest fear has been realized. I took a video.
Okay, so this is a wolf spider, and you know these things are super deadly and scary, and they'll kill humans in 2 seconds. That's actually not true at all, but my wife is deadly afraid of these things, so anytime there's one around, I don't really know what she wants me to do with it, because I don't like killing them.
Kill it.
I'm not going to kill it. So I'm not going to kill it. She just needs to get over this. They're wolf spiders, and they're everywhere.
That's the biggest one I've ever seen.
Oh, that's a little baby one. They get way bigger than that. They look like half tarantulas. But I don't know. She's just going to have to shed her city ways and just get used to these wolf spiders, because that's the way it is.
Whiskey's found himself a new piece of wood to chew on. It just happens to be one of our pieces of pecan.
Well, man, I think the rest of those are going to have to get loaded with the skid steer, because, well, how big do you think that was?
Couple 100 pounds?
At least.
Yeah.
Probably 200 or 300. It was, anyway, it was very heavy. I couldn't do it myself, and the two of us, it still was a struggle. So the rest of those are probably going to get loaded with the skid steer. But that's about all the time we actually have for today. It's only 65 degrees, but man, that Carolina sun is hot, and we are rather parched. I'm going to end this with a story from my childhood about firewood. I got lots of them, but I think this is my earliest memory of firewood. Might even be my earliest memory from my childhood. I think I was 4, and we lived in this little town. We heated our house with wood. My sister, she is 5 years older than me, so maybe I was 3 or 4, I don't know. She was 8. Let's say she was 8. And for some strange reason, one day she was asking my dad about arteries, and I don't know, somehow my dad told her that there was a main artery in your thumb. And so firewood was an all hands on deck thing when I was a kid, and my parents were doing firewood in the backyard. My brother and sister, you know, they're quite a bit older than me. I was observing, I believe. I don't remember helping. That probably was the only time I didn't help with firewood. But I remember somehow my sister got in the way. My dad threw a piece of firewood, hit her in the hand, cut her thumb open, and she screamed. And she screamed about how she was going to die because the day before my dad told her there was a main artery in your thumb and that you could bleed to death by cutting your thumb.
I did not know that story.
Yeah, yep. So my sister, still alive, very much alive,
Arteries
and
intact.
all of her arteries are still functioning as far as I know. Thought she was going to bleed to death because she cut her thumb. Yep, so anyway, I have a lot of firewood memories because we always heated our house with firewood, and now we're doing it again. But you know, I just want to say thanks for joining us today. This is the beginning of our journey, and there'll be many more videos to come for many years to come, because this is going to be our forever place and eventually our business if it works out. So anyway, that's our adventure. So, you know, life's an adventure.
Let's keep it that way.